October is here already, and this video is super late. So that means I'm going to rank every movie I saw in September 2019. September is usually a pretty lucky month for me. For the past few years, every September has had a movie that has made my top 10 favorite movies, so let's see if this September lived up to that. Now here's the order of movies I saw in September. Angel Has Fallen, It Chapter 2, The Sixth Sense, Enter the Dragon, Rambo 3, which I finally finished, Rambo Last Blood, Ad Astra, The Shawshank Redemption, Braveheart, The Thin Red Line, and Gladiator. Without further ado, let's start the ranking. In last place is going to be Enter the Dragon. I was not crazy about this film. A lot of people love it, and that's fine. This is a very unpopular opinion, but I wasn't really crazy about this movie. I didn't hate it at all. You know, it was enjoyable to watch. Had some great action, but I just didn't really see anything special about it. I really like Bruce Lee in it, but I feel like it just didn't do anything special for me, and that was disappointing because I wanted to love this movie. In 10th place is going to be Rambo 3. I'm going to go through some of these really quickly and then like some of them a little less quickly. But yeah, I already talked about this one. This was actually on my February ranked video, but it shouldn't have been because I fell asleep halfway through it. I decided to watch it before reviewing Rambo 5 and even watching Rambo 5, and I think it's an okay movie. If you want to hear my thoughts on it more in depth on this movie, then like just watch my Rambo ranked video, or just just watch my Rambo 3 review. But yeah, I think it's just an okay movie. In 9th place is going to be It Chapter 2. I thought this movie was a big step down from the first. When I heard this movie was almost 3 hours long, I was actually happy because that means more of it. Unfortunately, that also meant more overlong flashbacks, jump scares, and boring scenes. This was easily one of the most disappointing films of the year. This film had so much potential, but they just went in the direction of okay. And there's so many like plot devices that just could have gone like other ways. They could have taken a lot of stuff in like better directions and stuff. But they just went in the direction where I think like most of it was just like okay at its best. Like I said, it's not a bad movie, but I really thought there was way too many flashbacks, and it was actually pretty boring at times. Like the first one was really suspenseful throughout the whole movie, but this one was just like I was sitting there and there was definitely suspense, but it kind of felt like an action movie at some times, just because I don't know, the final act of this movie just feels like a big action horror movie. It's not even scary. Like this movie was not even scary at all. And the first one actually had some decent scares. The first one wasn't really scary to me, but I still had a ton of fun and it was really intense. But this one wasn't as intense, it wasn't as scary, and just overall wasn't as good as a movie. In 8th place is going to be Rambo Last Blood. Speaking of disappointing movies this year, this is easily the most. Again, it's not as bad as some people say it was, but it could have been so much better. Instead of being a fitting conclusion to an iconic character, it just felt like an average Stallone action thriller. This movie just felt so B-level compared to First Blood and Rambo 4. In fact, I did give it a B. But it's just very uneven. In fact, there's not much action until the last 20 minutes, and it's a Rambo movie. There's still some good things in it that I saw, but I don't know, it's intense and it has emotion, but I didn't feel like it was as good as it should have been. Next up is Angel Has Fallen. I actually gave this movie a really high grade. Right now I would probably drop the grade down to a B+, but still, this is just such an enjoyable action thriller with more development of Mike Manning as a character. This movie's story was easily my biggest issue with the film. It's a very worn out story about a man who's framed for a murder trying to clear his name. We've seen that dozens of times in movies, but I thought its execution of that was done really well, and I'm happy we are starting to get more action thrillers again. In fact, we got a lot of action movies this year, which I'm happy about because last year it was mainly just superhero stuff, and there was the best pure action movie. In fact, I think the only one that was great was Mission Impossible Fallout last year. That was just that was my favorite movie of last year, and it's my second favorite movie right now. But that was really the only great action thriller last year. And Upgrade was great. I'm sure there's more, but pure action thrillers as they go, I think that was the only one from last year, and Upgrade, but I'm happy we're getting more this year, and Angel Has Fallen just entertained me a lot, and I'm happy it came out. In 6th place is going to be The Sixth Sense. I can never say that name. This movie was destined to get this place on the list anyway because sixth place, sixth. Okay, you guys get it. This movie's great. I don't have much to say about it that hasn't been said. I had a good time watching it, but my mind wasn't blown. Like, I don't know why, but like, just I was like sitting in it, and I was like, this is a really good movie. Well, like, it's not one of those movies where I'm just thinking about it constantly after I see it, where I'm just like, oh, I have to see that movie again. Um, Maybe because it's just like slow paced and everything, and there's not much going on, which, like, I still thought it was great for this movie, but I guess that's not what made me like as excited after watching it as like other movies. But I still think they did a great job with this movie, and for me, it just did everything right that it was trying to do. Taking fifth place is going to be The Shawshank Redemption. This movie is awesome. I got to see it in the theater for the first time for its 25th anniversary, and I loved it. I think everything about this movie is great. Our characters just facing the fact that their lives are screwed and all the emotion that comes out of that. I just thought this movie was perfect, and I had a really good time watching it in the theater. And like I said, I didn't see it before I saw it in the theater, so that made the experience a lot better as well. And overall, just such an enjoyable thriller. Not thriller, what do I mean? Like, just an enjoyable drama. And it brings out the emotion, and it really feels like you're being held captive in this prison. So yeah, I just think it's a great movie. In fourth place is going to be Braveheart. This movie's battle sequences are incredible. All the war sequences are just super intense and look great. This movie has some great performances and a great protagonist, and overall it's just a fun movie, and a movie that leaves you feeling something long after the credits. Like I said, a protagonist, you care about him a lot during this movie. There's some really intense scenes. There's some great battle scenes. The action scenes are pretty violent, like, because, it's a war movie, but, like, I hate when, like, a bunch of movies try to hold back the violence. This movie, like, not being, like, Saving Private Ryan, like, war violence, but, like, just being, like, like, it suits it, like, it shows, like, what was really happening. And I think they did a great job showing that. And overall, I just really loved this movie. Not really loved it. I really liked it. It's like a 10 out of 10 for me. But, still, such a great movie. In third place is Gladiator. This movie almost cracked my top 10, but I felt like it fell a little shorter later on just because it dragged a little for me. But still, this movie is fantastic. A lot like Braveheart, it had the action and the suspense, the emotion, and the awesome lines. In fact, the whole I'm Maximus Decimus Meridius line, like, I love that line. That's easily my favorite line of the movie, and maybe even my favorite scene. But again, like, the action scenes in this film are incredible. You're just rooting for the main character to get revenge. I love it. And this movie just had such an exciting feel to it, while just being, like, purely entertaining. Russell Crowe is also great in this movie, and I can't imagine anyone else playing Maximus. And yeah, just such a great movie, and if you haven't seen it, I recommend you check it out. In second place is The Thin Red Line. This film has one hell of a cast. I'll start off with that. Everyone's great in this movie, and I actually got confused as to who is who in this movie. The action scenes are awesome in this movie, as the majority of this movie is just a big war sequence. And this movie has some deeper themes and, like, messages as well, like, as I thought they were being well executed throughout the whole movie. And this was not a normal war movie. This movie was special in some ways, and that's something I really liked about it, because, like, it made me feel more, and it just made me think a little more. And it had some, like, weird scenes, but, like, just scenes that, like, I don't know, just, you felt something, and, like, you thought a little about it. So yeah, I just like when movies do that to me. But in first place as my favorite movie in September is Ad Astra. I love this film. It's easily one of the best movies of the year, and that's because it reached me on so many deep levels and had some great executed messages and themes. This film has the emotion and the suspense as well. It had a really good soundtrack, and some of the narration was pretty great, as it made you think even more. I already did a review of it, so you can go check that out if you want. But yeah, this movie just reached me on an emotional level and made me think really, really hard. And I was just sitting in the theater. I saw this in IMAX too, and that was insane. It looked amazing in IMAX. But like I said, like, just this movie like reaches you on an emotional level with the father and son theme, and then like just like it makes you think really hard just about like everything, and that's something I loved about it. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Look forward to my Halloween special reviews, and as always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.